Good morning and welcome back to Miniature Monday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Clan Cavalry Star for Battletech from Catalyst Game Labs. Now, this is a set of 5 miniatures that was produced in conjunction with the Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter in 2023. It has started rolling out to backers and a few retailers in the US. At the time of recording, it is still making its way around the world. So if you don't have yours yet, I hope this does give you a little bit of a preview and, hopefully keep you excited for international shipping delays. But regardless, folks, basically what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the miniatures themselves. You'll get some nice close-ups of the figures, and then we're also going to take a look at the art for the mechs in question so that we can see how they've evolved over the last however many years since they were originally introduced. But before we get started with that, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week or do live streams where I'm painting miniatures or talking about games, and I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. It's whether it's miniatures or role-playing or board games, if it's on the tabletop, I'm interested and I want to talk about it. So, in addition, there are a couple of links down below if you'd like to help out the channel. They are affiliate links to DriveThruRPG and Amazon. They absolutely do help out, but you are under no obligation to use them. We're just grateful that you're here. So, with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at our first figure, which is the Black Python. I don't get this. Is it a plane? Is it a battle mech? What exactly is going on here? I think somebody just had a really goofy idea, slapped some art on the paper, and called it good. I honestly have no idea what's going on here. The design is not my favorite. It's not bad. It's definitely, I mean, if it didn't have the tail fins, I think I'd probably accept it a little bit better. But at this point, it literally looks like somebody took like the fuselage of an airplane, took the wings off, gave it some arms and some chicken legs, and said, go to town. So I'm thoroughly confused, but overall, the mech is actually the figure itself is fairly well put together. It's got nice detailing. Everything actually looks more or less like it belongs. I don't understand it. Is it going to transform and take off? I don't know. And I'm clearly just going to get hung up on that because I don't have a better answer for you folks. So it's definitely an interesting design choice. It is also an interesting choice as, one of the mechs that's going to get made into an actual figure. So it is what it is. It is not going to be my favorite in this list, but it could absolutely be worse. I'll be honest, I actually think the legs are my favorite part. The legs are actually done really well. I just wish they were on something better. Okay. All right, I'm complaining. I don't know why I'm complaining, but you know what? Let's just get to the art, because let's just say that this figure, I think, is an improvement when this is our original piece of art. Now, this is from Tech Readout 3055. I do not know what is going on here. So even more, this looks like an airplane with some arms and some chicken legs. It's like the original Transformers movie come to life or something. I don't know, but these These legs are super skinny. The upper arms are super skinny. Like this, I think this is if you gave Battletech to an 80s children's cartoonist. And I'm not even talking like the Battletech cartoon. I'm talking like Smurfs or something. I don't know. Like, and said, "Here, make us a big stompy robot." And that person has no. And I'm probably being way too harsh on the person, but I am. I don't. I've literally got nothing here. It's. I don't know what's going on. All right, so then we get this one from 3055 Upgrade. Uh, it's okay. This is getting it back into mech territory. The legs are bulkier, the arms are a bit bulkier. You still have some of the curves. Now, the problem I have with this is the fact that it doesn't look like the Black Viper, um, not or Black Python. Sorry, it doesn't look like the Black Python that we got originally. Um, again, the tail fins are kind of necessary. Um, I like the bulkier legs, but this just looks like a completely different mech. And then we get this one from the Ill Clan version. Now, again, I'm gonna say it. I think that this one, the art did come out really well. I still don't understand the mech, but I think this guy did it right. Kept it, kept it inspired by the original art, but got it to a point where it actually looks a little bit better. So that's the Black Python. I don't know what's going on here, but it's a mech. So enjoy. All right, now we're gonna get into what's probably my favorite part of this set. If you were here for last week's video, you would have seen 3 of the Clan 2C mechs, and in this case, we've got the Shadowhawk 2C. Overall, I'm a fan of the 2C variants. Basically, the 2Cs were an attempt to get away from the original Macross designs. And the art for them was done by a company called Victor Musical Industries. Now, because it was an outside company that did the designs and did the art direction on it, they actually joined the Unseen because it was something that basically they wanted to avoid any potential future lawsuits from. So we've since gotten some more redesigns of those. They went through Project Phoenix, things like that. Now, this particular mech, it's not bad. And the interesting thing is that the head and the body do remind me of the Shadowhawk, but the fact that it's missing the shoulder cannon, kind of, it's missing. It's throwing off that look. This is not a bad design. It just doesn't look like anything but a robot. So, while I realize that I'm kind of nitpicking, and when we get to the art, you'll be like, well, it looks like the art, and you're not wrong. It's just a little uninspiring is how I will put it. So I do like the cockpit. The cockpit reminds me of a Shadowhawk. The fact that it's got a backpack like the Shadowhawk does is nice. I like the way that the jump boosters kind of fill it up. So, overall, it's not horrible. It's just not good, is how I would put it. So, all right, so that is the Shadowhawk 2C. Let's take a look at its art. Now, this I actually think is kind of interesting because of the fact that the Clan version of the Shadowhawk 2C is pretty darn close to this. The head is obviously a little bit different, but the backpack, these chest vents, overall are... This is some good styling here. And I like the fact that it came through. If you were here in the last video, you'll know that I am a big fan of the Victor Musical Industries. When I got into Battletech, I mean, I didn't really read the credits, so I didn't understand that it was this outside company. But I came into Battletech because of Robotech. And so this particular art actually, kind of reminded me why I got into Battletech. So I was a big fan of these color plates in the 3055 tech readout. Now, moving on, we then get this from Project Phoenix. Now, I try to evaluate Project Phoenix designs on their own, as opposed to just, what do I think of this in relation to the Shadowhawk or, whatever it's supposed to represent. Because sometimes I know that I'm very critical of Project Phoenix as far as the, when it comes to representing what it's supposed to represent. It's like, this is supposed to represent the Shadowhawk 2C. And honestly, I hate it. I don't think it looks anything like it. I can see the backpack. I can see that they added a torso cannon, which is normal for a Shadowhawk. But my biggest problem with Project Phoenix is they tried to go so far away from the original art to avoid copyright issues that they just kind of destroyed what it was originally. So I've never been a fan of Project Phoenix. And I think my bigger problem here is that as a mech on its own, I'm also not a fan. Project Phoenix, I understand what they were trying to do. I understand why they were trying to do it. I'm just not a fan. So anyway, so that is the Shadowhawk 2C from Project Phoenix. We then get this version, which is from, I think, 3085. Another matte plog art. Okay, now this is a great piece of matte plog art. So it looks like a Shadowhawk. It's got the shoulder cannon. It's got some medium lasers in the arms. And then it's got some jump boosters. This is great. And I like the scene. I like everything. This is a fun piece of art. So great as far as the art's concerned. I also like it because this is sort of a Project Phoenix design, but it's back towards what a Shadowhawk should look like, in my personal opinion. So we're getting closer. We're getting better. But then we go to this one, which is our Shadowhawk for Clan, and it's everything that I've already said. It's very much closer to the original Victor Musical Industries, but it takes some of that Shadowhawk look away. If you're going to try and sell me a Shadowhawk and you don't have a shoulder cannon, I don't know what you're doing. Even for a 2C variant, telling you that it is a variant, it just doesn't inspire me. It doesn't tell me that, yes, that's what this is. So kind of frustrated on that regard. Overall, not a bad design. Does sort of get away from the same factory syndrome, but it's also a little disappointing. So There's the Shadowhawk 2C. All right, now next up we've got the Griffin 2C. Now, this guy, okay, overall, I like this. The bunny ears, I'm not a fan of. I'll get that out of the way first. When we get to the art, you'll see that I can understand why they put the bunny ears on there. I still don't like them. They're not too thick, which we've seen in some other figures, but they just kind of throw it off. So I'm not a fan. Now the Griffin, typically it's going to have an LRM-10 and a PPC in the right arm. This also has a weapon in the center torso, and it's got 4 LRM-5s. Overall, I don't really have an issue with it. When you consider what a normal Griffin looks like, this isn't too far off. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. It's pretty far off. But I can still see the underlying Griffin there. So it doesn't look like something that's too far out of the norm for what a Griffin is. Overall, for the figure itself, it's put together well. Not a ton of mold lines that I'm going to worry about for my painting. If you've watched any of my painting streams, you know that I am not necessarily a big fan of cleanup. So I try to just keep it to a minimum. I do wish that it had a PPC in the right arm, but I'll forgive it. They could do worse things. But overall, not a bad design. I can still see a Griffin in it, even with the changes. So let's take a look at the art. All right, so first up, we've got the Victor Musical Industries and the anime styling. Big fan of this. I like the design, even though it looks like it has absolutely no weapon systems at all. But it's a fun anime mecha style. So, now, the next time we'd see the Griffin 2C, unfortunately, because of the unseen, we got it out of Project Phoenix. That's a little closer to what we're getting from Clan, although I don't know. I know I'm harsh on Project Phoenix. To any Project Phoenix artist out there, I'm sorry. It's not an attack against you personally. I just don't like it. Even this one, it's okay. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get off of Project. Let's move on from this, because we're still gonna see one more. We did get some Matt Plog art though, which overall okay. This one I can get behind. Looks a little bit better. It's definitely got the Matt Plog style to it. This cannon up on the shoulder is a little large, but it also does kind of remind you of the missile tube that's on the shoulder of the original Griffin, so that's kind of nice. Overall, it's not bad. And then next up we get this, which is our Clan version. So everything I've already said. It's got the LRM-5s. You can see the bunny ears, up here on the head. So again, it throws it off, but it's not the worst. I will be totally fine painting this guy up. But that is, I don't really have anything else to say. So anyways, the Griffin 2C. All right. Now, next up, we've got the Jenner 2C. Now, I will be honest, this is probably my favorite out of the entire pack. It just looks right. Okay. Now, compared to the original Jenner, it's got the dome cockpit. It's got the missile pod or let me rephrase that. The pod arms. You know, the chicken style. Well, actually, technically, a Jenner should have like regular leg styles, not chicken. But for the 2C, they went with chicken legs. Overall, I like this. It absolutely does not have same factory syndrome. It's got lots of missiles because it's got SRM-6s on the side and it looks like an SRM-4 on the top, which is, again, emblematic of a Jenner. So essentially, you've got a little fast missile boat on this guy. Regardless, I like the look of the Jenner. The Jenner 2C. Sorry. This is a fun one, and absolutely, I would field this guy for a nice light mech, just out of general principles. This is going to be fun to get some paint on. All right, so what about the art? So first up, we've got Victor Musical Industries. I'm not complaining about this one. They almost resurrected this design with the Ill Clan version. So first off, as I've said previously in the video, I'm a fan of the Victor Musical Industries, art, and seeing where they are now compared to where it started. Very happy with that. Now, we also had this from the Falcon and the Wolf. So, I know I don't show... Usually, it's tech readout art that we show in these overviews. But if there's a good one, or if it came out of a different source book for its first appearance, I do try to include those. And seeing that for this one, this is a nice action pose for this particular mech. We'll zoom in a little bit. Now, we then get this one out of Tech Readout 3055 Revised. Again, sticking with the design. I'm assuming this was Dwayne Luce. No, Joel Bisk. Okay. Joel Bisk, and yeah, it's almost the same piece of art from Victor Musical Industries. So I still like it. All right, we then get this from Project Phoenix. And I hate it. I'm not even a fan for like an original design. If they had just put this in a book, I don't know. Maybe it's the artist, maybe it's just Project Phoenix. I don't know. I don't like it. It kind of looks like a Jenner. I can sort of see a Jenner in it. I just don't like it. It's too bulky. It's too cartoonish. I don't know. Not a fan. But then we get our Ill Clan version. And this I think hit it 100%. I like the look. I like the design. The missile pods are nice. Everything. You can see a little bit of same factory syndrome, in the armor plates, but overall, it's unique enough, and it implies the original Jenner enough that I really don't have a big complaint. As far as the same factory syndrome, I still think it's fairly mild on this particular unit. But yeah, I think they translated into the figure perfectly, and I think the art is actually pretty good as well. So I'm this one, because I've already told you which that I'm not a fan of the Shadowhawk, but this one I think is my favorite out of the pack. So of the 5 that you get, this is my absolute favorite. Is the Jenner 2C. And we come to our last mech, the Locust 2C. Now, this I like. I like this a lot. I'm not going to move it ahead of the Jenner 2C. That one's still my favorite. This one's got a few things that I'm like, okay. Mostly that antenna coming off the back of the medium laser. But while I'm a bigger fan of the giant, like the heavy and the assault class mechs, I don't know why I absolutely love the Locust and just its, like how small it is. I really like this version. This version is great. It looks like a Locust. It feels like a Locust, but you can tell that it's a different version of a Locust. Also, while there are a few aspects that kind of give it some same factory syndrome, I don't think it's too bad. Overall, it's a good look and a good design. Yeah, I don't really even have a whole lot of complaints. I mean, there's a little bit of softness in the plastic. Unfortunately, that's going to be a manufacturing issue, but it's not enough that I would be like, oh, this is ruined. I need a new version. It's mild enough that I am willing to tolerate it. Pre-assembled plastic miniatures. This is also more PVC style plastic. You have to be a little bit forgiving with it, just because of the nature of the material. So, again, a few small issues, but nothing really that would ruin it for me. This one I'll put absolutely as my second favorite out of the set of 5. So, what about its art? All right, so first up, we've got the Victor Musical Industries. Now, I have to be fair and say it's absolutely got just some tiny legs. However, number one, it's a Locust. Locusts have always had skinny legs. So it really doesn't negatively impact it as far as I'm concerned to have these super skinny legs. You can absolutely see some of the redesign. You've actually got the legs kind of attaching where the arms would normally attach. Like you saw that with the original Blackhawk. So again, it's a very anime style. I'm not giving it grief because of that. I'm just pointing out the differences. I do think like the cockpit section seems a little, I'm going to say, short. Like it seems like it should be longer and stick out from the mech a little bit more. But overall, it's not the worst. Still a fan of the art, but I definitely like it. They got rid of it because of the unseen issue, but I don't think we moved too far away from it as time went on. But let's look at the rest of it. I hate it. I just don't like it. Like, it seems like it took the cockpit from the Jenner 2C. It also very much reminds me of the Locust from MechWarrior. Which that was its own mess. But just like these triple laser pods or whatever. I hate doing it because I realize it's absolutely a personal preference, and I feel like I'm attacking the artist. I did not like Project Phoenix so very much. All right, Matt Plog to the rescue again. If this had been the Project Phoenix art, I still wouldn't accept it as a locust, but I'd accept it as a mech. I'm still not a fan of the hammerhead cockpit, but overall the art is pretty good. And then we get the Ill Clan version. I'm going to say it again. This is like my second favorite in the set. The art has a little bit of same factory syndrome, but it's not too bad. The antenna behind the laser is kind of bulky, is kind of big, so meh, that's a little annoying. But it's fine. I'm not sure if those are laser or missile pods in the arms. I know that there's a variant of the Locust 2C that does have SRM4s. So I'm just going to say that they're the SRM4s. And I like the look. I like the fact that the torso is actually set up above the hips. Yeah, I like the art. I like how the art translated into the figure. And this is a good representation, not just of a Locust, but also of the Locust 2C. I think it honors the original art very well. And, yes, I'm going to paint it up, and it's going to go into my collection, which is pretty big. But that's a me problem. So overall, yeah, this is a good one. So that's our Locust 2C. Oh, wrong screen. All right, so here we go. So what do I think of this set overall? Honestly, I'm mixed. I like two of the figures. One of the figures is okay. So the two figures I like. The Jenner 2C and the Locust 2C. The one I kind of like, the Griffin 2C. The one I'll tolerate would be the Black Python. I don't like it, but I'll tolerate it. It's just weird. And sadly, the Shadowhawk 2C I'm just not a fan of. I'm just not. So I'm very mixed. This particular set is actually a friend's, so I can't say I'm disappointed in purchasing it myself, but I will absolutely have to question whether I'm going to pick it up myself to paint my own figures. I am actually, when I did say I'm going to paint these, I am, because I am painting them for my friend. That's part of the agreement for me getting to do the review of it. But yeah, I'm not 100% sold that I'm going to purchase it on my own. So we'll leave that for the review. Folks, I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Make sure, share it with your Battletech friends. If they're thinking about getting it, let them know what to expect. So, let us know. But otherwise, if you enjoyed it, give it the thumbs up and put it down in the comments. Am I wrong on any of this? Am I being too harsh? Should I be a bit more forgiving of both the Ill Clan versions and some of the old art? I don't know. Let me know. Roast me in the comments. I will totally accept it. But folks, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.